The birth story of Edify Hamukale is best told by his mother, Naomi herself. Edify Hamukale comes from a polygamous home. He is of royal blood, a descendant of Ila and Tonga chiefs.
In a polygamous matrimony, you have a lot of half-brothers, half-sisters, cousins, and my father had a lot of workers, as many as 50 sometimes. And it was a kind of life where segregation was never heard of. You ate together with the workers, you shared bed with your father's workers, and you did everything together. There was no special treatment for his actual children.
The Ilas and Tongas are part of the Bantu-speaking ethnic groups of Southern Africa, covering most of Comesa and all of the SADC countries. They are cattle farmers, and Edify grew up looking after cattle. His father was married to 5 wives and had 21 children. He was born 7th. In astrology, the number 7 means complete. Wasn't he extraordinary from birth? Edify was Dad's boy, just like Joseph of ancient Egypt, recorded in the Bible. What lessons did Edify learn from his father?
My father, he has taught me a few lessons. He emphasized that I should control my desire for money, for food, and for women. He also emphasized that I should exercise honesty, fairness, eat the bread of my sweat, exercise tolerance, and above all, to free my mind of all sorts of worry. It's not worth worrying about anything.
As a child, Edify was brought up under the care of different people.
I was brought up by many families. In fact, I never grew up under the care of my parents. I lived in something like seven homes, 7 families. I lived with all sorts of people, some of which were not even my relatives. And I asked my father why he had to subject me to all this. And he said, because he loved me, he wanted me to grow into a very strong boy.
From the different lifestyles of many families, he got early wisdom.
But in my time of staying with many families, I noticed that on this earth, there are some really very cruel women. Very cruel, and I emphasize very cruel women to children. And at the same time, there are some very, very nice men and nice women also who can look after a dependent as if it was their own child. Many men or husbands do not know what children go through at home in their absence. Some women are really, really cruel. If you look after some dependents, your relatives, your wives, dependents, take time to talk to the children. They may be living under separation. They may be living under segregation. You may not know it. I know it. I lived in 7 families, different ones.
Edify Hamukale received his primary school education at Banakaila Primary School in Monza district of southern Zambia.
If you wanted to get into grade 1 that time, they never used to look at birth records. They will simply ask you to flap your hand on top of your head like this. And if you can touch your ear, then you are eligible for grade 1.
He was the most intelligent child in his class, and his teachers liked him a lot. He was made class captain in grade 1.
In term 2 of grade 1, she gave me half of her class to teach how to read, because I was the first one to know how to read. When I was in grade 3, they could pick me from grade 3 to go and teach grade 5s how to read. And later the school chose me to be a timekeeper, so I would ring a little bell every 40 minutes, every 30 minutes.
For an energetic and playful boy, mango trees made a wonderful pastime, but not without trouble.
In grade 6, I fell from a mango tree. We had nice mango trees and we were playing this monkey game. A monkey game is where you jump from branch to branch, chasing each other. And because you are still light individuals, usually the branches will not crack or break. But that day I was so unfortunate. as I was jumping, I was unable to catch the branch I wanted to catch because it was too swinging. Another boy had just jumped, so I missed it and fell to the ground like this, and I had my arm broken. It was very painful. I was sent to the hospital. I stayed in the hospital for 6 weeks. And on my return, the day I arrived in class, they were beginning to write the end of term exam to get into grade 7.
In most cases, was always getting the highest mark, even after a long absence from school. He seemed to be someone who was very, very interested in education. What I gathered about his academic life during our school time, I can sum it up just in one word: he's a genius.
Edify Hamukale received high school education at Chipepo Boys Secondary School. This is a beautifully located school on the shores of Lake Kariba, a very big man-made lake in the Zambezi escarpment spilling into nearby Zimbabwe. Here, he won many awards of academic excellence almost every term in the form of certificates and free books. Former school teacher Mr. Absalom Sakala describes Edify as inspiring, extremely brilliant, and a natural-born leader.
I have known Edify Hamukale from his early days in high school. He went to school in Chipepo Secondary School in Southern Province, where I was a teacher myself of industrial arts. It is from those early days that I became interested in the life of this young man. He has been very intelligent and very inspiring indeed. Perhaps one of the best boys to have come out of Chipepo. What made me get so interested in his life was his outstanding brilliance in the area of mathematics. Edify Hamukale was extremely brilliant during his days there. I remember very well at grade 9 level, he got 100% in mathematics.
He's very, very good, more especially in mathematics and sciences. He's good, he stands above the rest.
Edify studied agriculture, but Mr. Sakala feels his young man is wrongly placed.
I was rather surprised that the young man decided to pursue agriculture, because I would have loved if he had gone into mathematics, where I believe he had a natural talent. But however, I'm equally pleased by the achievements he has made in this field as well. He has actually excelled quite brilliantly in this field. He holds a master's degree now in agriculture, which I think is quite a proud record for Chipepo Secondary School.
He was a person who could be consulted by anyone, both by his juniors and by his seniors. These people would come to him and consult him on various, subjects. But what was surprising was these seniors would not come during the time. They were Nicodemuses. They would only come at night to consult from him, because they would fear to be laughed at by their friends and and juniors, that they are consulting from a junior.
Through the years, it was very clear that this young man was going to be very successful in his life indeed. While at school, he had a number of responsibilities. At one time, he was made head boy of the school, leading a population of well over 1,000 students in there. And he performed very well. The role of leadership which was given to him seemed to have come so naturally to him.
It was actually surprising that there was one time when we wrote a joint test in chemistry with the senior grade students on atomic theory. And it was surprising that the Edify was the best. He beat even senior students. And others had even claimed that he was a repeater. But I don't think the claims could really find ground, because he was in grade 10. There was no way he would go in grade 12, then come back and repeat in grade 10. It was not possible. And this is what happened. He speaks the truth, even when it betrays him.
We are tired of audit queries. Some of us have never stolen in our lives and will never steal. So, don't tempt the image of the province and traveling to Lusaka all the time for audit queries, not under my administration. I want resources to be managed prudently. It's really embarrassing to see a former PS, whatever, being followed by DEC, ACC. When you retire, you should walk with your head high up there and just live in the community. There's really nothing to worry about if you manage your career life with prudence.
I grew up under an environment of total honesty. I believe in total discipline.
He's firm, fair, and practical.
And I also want to speak for the lowly, the drivers, the cleaners, the office orderlies, the secretaries, that no senior person should harass this category of employees. Especially for drivers, no one should abuse them by keeping them late in the night or sending them on unwarranted errands. Speak out. If someone is abusing you, speak out. The PS will listen, and I'm here to listen. We must respect our junior officers. If it means not paying me as I go to Parliament, don't pay me so that Dunia Sakala, Gertrude, Chimunya are paid. I would rather forfeit that payment. There's no way a parent can eat food when food is limited and the children haven't eaten. At least for me, don't pay me. If it means going by bus to Parliament, I will. Yes, I will. If it means sleeping in my car, I will do that until these officers of mine who worked for their money are paid. Let's stop this greed. I don't like it.
He's very brave and confident, and even in very difficult situations, he can withstand whatever threat is, whatever threat is facing.
Some roads in rural areas are not passable in the rain season. And I remember one time I got stuck between Chitungulu and Kazembe. Those are chiefdoms that are on the western side of Bundazi. We got stuck and we had no food. And lions were roaring in the national park. I've really worked for this country, Zambia. My driver was a very courageous man also. So I said, sir, what do we do? Let's make beds in the trees. Let's cut some branches and put up beds there. So we did that. Mr. Banda and I did that. We chopped off some bamboos and made beds in the trees and locked up the car. And we climbed in the trees. We looked around, there were a few berries we ate. Fortunately, since it was raining, we drank any water we found. We sieved water using our shirts like this. Dirty water, you put your shirt like this and sieve and drink. So we stayed there for 72 hours. to wait for the ground to dry. And there was nobody nearby to assist us. No radio system. So we dug the mud around the car using humble tools. We used sticks, we used anything we came across. And by the third day in the afternoon, we came out of that mud. We were able to drive back to Mombasa. And that was just one example of many that I went through in trying to attend to rural people in my country.
There's no pretense. You know, when you make a mistake, whether you're a friend, a relative, or what, he doesn't care. He will point it out.
Job vacancies are being kept secret. Yes, I'll say it. Job vacancies, even if they're here, I would have loved if they're here. So I face them. They are simply listing down names of people and saying there's a vacancy, employee this one. Who told you? It's not a personal company, this is GRZ. So HR, I'm far from being satisfied. You've seen this whole catalog of wrongs. If you can get help from HR health, HR education, to put things in order there at provincial admin.
Dr. Hamukale wondered how some shopkeepers in the pharmacies were attending to clients without facial masks.
You are risking yourselves, you are risking those that enter the shop. So I want to see 10 minutes from now, you must put on masks. Yeah? That one is a directive, there's no compromise.
He never gives up and is self-made and knows no barrier at all.
I've worked with Edify for a number of years. In Eastern Province, he was my supervisor. We came to Lusaka Province, he was my supervisor. In that period of time that I worked with Edify, there was so much that I emulated from him. He's a honest man, he's a hard-working man, intelligent man.
He's a leader.
Very strong. Very motivated and driven by ambitions and dreams. He always wants to get what he wants and he always gets what he wants. He always works hard. That's as brief as I can get. Very loving, yes, but I understand a little bit. So I've learned a lot of leadership qualities from him. He's never been a follower. He's always been, a straight up leader. Even if he doesn't want to be, he just stands out and then Edify Hamukale. He's just there.
I think he's a born leader. Yeah, just if you're looking for the definition of a leader, it's him. Yes, he's a very responsible person. He matured at a very early stage. Yeah, his background is not the best.
There was a youth wing, UNIP youth wing, and he was a chairman for the UNIP political club at our school. And he has been an admirer of our first, president, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda.
Between the age of 8 and 9, I was often chosen by my district governor to go and receive Dr. Kaunda at the airport with flowers in my hands. And as Dr. Kaunda descended from the plane, he would receive those flowers and pat on my back with his white handkerchief. That was fascinating for a kid of that age to be in the company of presidents. In short, I got into public life very early.
Dr. Kenneth Kaunda of Zambia is Edify's role model. But what are the similarities between Edify Hamukale and Zambia's first president? Well, here they are. They both have an incredible smile and charisma. Both like soccer and keeping fit. Both eat selectively. Both are humble, simple but wise people. Both are courageous and persistent persons. Both stammer a little when speaking. Both were born in the month of April, 15th and 28th in that order. Both play guitar.
Kaunda had so much impact on my friend Edify. On the international scene, his political heroes are Nelson Mandela of South Africa and Bill Clinton of the United States of America. If he was to go into politics, he would not go into politics to save himself. That I'm very, very sure and positive. He would go into politics to save the nation. Edify has got a lot of hobbies. During our school days, he was a boxer and he liked watching boxing so much. He also likes soccer.
And he also, I found later on that he was very musical, which I didn't know. My family, my son and his wife and the daughter and the grandson, are very, very interested in music in themselves, and they met and they always talked music, and he can play so many instruments. You see, Edify was in Europe, in Holland, Netherlands, and I think what we found in common, that we could talk about Eastern Europe, where I come from, we had something very much in common.
His interest in music started a long, long time ago. As early as grade 8, the administration identified this talent in him, and on many occasions, he was called upon to sing the national anthem during assemblies. Even at school, at tertiary, tertiary education level, he would spare time to practice music, because that to him was like part of life. He couldn't do without music. He plays guitar so well, although he's also good with other musical instruments. Actually, if you were to go to his home, you would find that his home is full of musical instruments. Many, many different types of musical instruments in his house. This is an incredible collection of musical instruments for a hobby artist. His greatest model and friend is his own biological father, because he was fond of his father.
Edify is a very famous musician in Zambia and has a lot of fans around Southern Africa.
I enjoy going with my children to sell our tomatoes, our cabbages, and anything that we grow at our farm, because this is the life I grew up.
I encourage maybe my young man, maybe one day, to go back to his roots, Chipepo Secondary School, where he can actually give a lecture, trace the roots from where he has come from to where he is. I think it would form a very inspiring life story indeed.
And indeed, he did go back to his former school.
He completed school in 1989. He used to belong to this class, stroke. That's why I decided to come and talk.
And out of you, we are going to have army commanders, we are going to have doctors, we are going to have nurses, we are going to have teachers like yourselves. You can be anybody you want. You can be a minister, you can be president. You can be what you want. All you need is work hard, and plan your time properly, listen to your teachers, and develop a good character. But I have to sit over there. Believe in yourselves. You can be who you want if you work hard. Save your country, because that's the biggest achievement.
Edify Hamukale manages his time so well that he can equitably apportion it amongst work, friends, family, religion, and above all, exercising in the gymnasium, which is probably the secret behind his superb health and sound mind. His children are very happy people who enjoy time with him. When your dad is this reliable, you can afford a dance and a birthday party.
My relationship with him has been quite good. Yes, we've been very close from the time we were growing. Yeah, I remember he would take us out, we would go for swimming. Even with the limited resources, he would try to make the best out of what he had for us. Yes, he would take videos of us. Yeah, he's been our relationship has been very good. Yeah, hence I've learned really a lot from him. Okay.
Like every father and daughter relationship was strong, is strong, it's a very strong bond. But you know, as work comes along, school comes along, and then, yeah, but we are very close. We were closer when I was a kid, you know. We played, rode bicycles, went swimming. It was amazing, yeah, so we're pretty close.
If you met Edify, you will read in his face simplicity, meekness, and love. He is a careful listener with more action and less talk. He is as humble as a sheep, but as wise as a serpent, as meek as biblical Moses, but as courageous as Hitler or Napoleon. He is as simple as an office general worker, but possesses natural intelligence of the highest order. But you won't see all this if you are prejudiced.
On the other hand, he's a man that one would want to associate with. He's a man of good character, a man of good standing in society.
But how does Edify interpret development for his country and for Africa?
The approach to development of any country or any sector is not a linear equation. If I was to think mathematical, I would say it's not even quadratic. It's better to talk of polynomials, because there are so many things involved. There's a tendency among many critics thinking development equals the president, development equals the general manager or whatever, the apex person. That's wrong. There are several stakeholders involved. Development involves everyone.
Indeed, Africa is not only blessed with many natural resources, but also with very good human capital for its further development. But the big problem in Africa is manpower drain into foreign and usually more developed countries, where many gifted young people go to look for better jobs. Edify has advice for this devastating labor migration trend.
Many of my fellow graduates in Zambia left Zambia to go and work in other countries because better wages were offered there. Especially after we finished our master's degrees, a lot of my fellow youths left the country to go and earn more money somewhere else. I didn't, and I felt very guilty. I said, look, the government has sent me to school. My parents sent me to school. And if I leave, then who will develop my country? And from that moral perspective, I decided to stay home. And I've got job satisfaction. Not because I get a lot of money, not at all, but because the people that I serve write me letters, others send me phone calls to tell me they are happy with what I'm doing for them, and that keeps me in.
We were trying to see how it will, different varieties of maize would grow on this land. This is when I met Edify. Now, he was a fantastic person. I must say, right from the beginning, we were struck I was struck by how hard-working he was, what a fantastic organizer he was.
I also want to thank you, Mr. Manager, for organizing this ceremony so efficiently. It's not easy to organize an event like this. It takes quite a lot of time.
I would say the whole movement who brought to this part of Copper Belt some hope for the ordinary person to grow and to succeed.
The Copper Belt is privileged to have many perennial streams whose waters can be put to use through irrigation. We therefore challenge government to put infrastructural support towards the growing of a second crop in winter for both small-scale and commercial farmers.
We had a field day afterwards. We grew the different varieties and he invited the local farmers, anybody was invited around this area, to come to my farm and to have a look how the end product has succeeded. And a lot of people came. We went through the field and he was explaining how this variety did and how the other variety has done. From then onwards, he became a very close friend of mine. Because he was so enthusiastic. He gave a lot of encouragement, especially to me, which I didn't know what I was doing most of the time. But he was fantastic. I have done some winter maize, and when there was a problem, I couldn't understand what was happening. I called on Edify, he immediately came. He analyzed, he took samples, everything for me. He was a tremendous help. He always talked about how he would like to improve the whole situation here in Zambia. And as you know, probably, I'm sure you have heard, he's one day on the Copper Belt, next time he's in the Eastern Europe, and forever he's going and organizing and helping the farmers.
As I speak now, I would say I know Zambia. I've been to literally every district of Zambia. And fortunately, I was able to learn quite a number of languages in my country. Zambia has something like 73 tribes, if I'm not mistaken. And the government of Zambia tried to aggregate all those tribes to about 7, which are now represented in the broadcasting system. So on radio of 7 languages, television of 7 languages. And out of those 7, I can speak 5.
Comparatively, I think he stands out amongst most of the Zambians.
It is not how well you say things, it's how well you do them.
In Chikanta Chiefdom is only but a glimpse of the massive development being undertaken in the third largest government-funded province in the country. Southern Province is the third largest gross domestic product contributor in the country after Lusaka and the Copper Belt. Network towers, electricity connection and major road networks have been constructed in almost all the needy districts of the Southern Province. Southern Province Minister Edify Hamukale highlights some of the major road projects in the area by the government.
The government constructed several roads in Southern Province, which have helped improve connectivity of the province and also made it easy for movements of commercial products and people that are traveling for different activities. And the major roads include the Bottom Road, the Mazabuka to Turnpike Road, the Monzeniko Road, and urban network roads that are giving a very good facelift to most of the towns. The Kalomo Dundumwezi Iteshteji-Namala Road is such an important road to Southern Province because it is connecting 3 districts which in the past couldn't trade. So with the coming of this climate resilient road, more commercial activities will be taking place and there will be so much movement of goods and persons amongst these 3 districts. And secondly, this is a much shorter route to get to the other districts. Previous people had to go through Lusaka and come back to Iteshteji. So this is a lot shorter. On that same road, we have the Kafio National Park. And the construction of this road will spur a lot of tourism activities and tourism investment, because it means then our clients, both domestic and foreign, will be able to access our animal-based tourism.
The province is Zambia's energy powerhouse. It is also the #1 producer of beef, accounting for over 1 million cattle out of the approximately over 3 million cattle in the country. Lying south of the province is Kazungula, the largest district in the country. The district has in the last few years received major construction projects such as the district hospital, civic center and district administration, among others. But the pride of the district is the newly constructed Kazungula Bridge, which stands as a marvel. The multi-million United States dollars project between Zambia and Botswana across the Zambezi River is an engineering masterpiece.
Kazungula Bridge is a masterpiece that is an infrastructure that we feel proud of, not only as Zambia but as SADC. It's the 2nd largest bridge in Southern Africa. That bridge will ease commercial activities between Zambia and the other countries, including those that are our neighbors. It will also reduce the lead time in terms of clearing of goods and services. At the moment we are using a pontoon, but with the coming of the bridge, we will save a lot of time, a lot of money, and it will be a very professional environment such that even the informal sector will be expected to adjust and turn formal because of the technology that is involved at the bridge. So this is an asset that will improve connectivity within SADC, to which Zambia is a member.
Zimba and Zhikankata districts also have their share of projects.
In all the new districts, namely Zhikankata, Pemba, and Kazungula, the government built new office buildings for the central government offices and also for the local government, the council. In addition to that, the government built post offices and buildings that will be occupied by banks. So this will enhance service delivery in those districts because they are new and young districts that require that infrastructure.
Joma is the provincial capital of the Southern Province. A new provincial office block is being built in the district. The project also includes staff houses. Livingstone is a cosmopolitan city owing to its status as a tourist capital of Zambia and home to one of the 7 UNESCO natural wonders of the world, the Victoria Falls. The Victoria Falls is locally known as the Mosotunya or Shungu Namudidima. The city hosted the Southern Province Investment and Tourism Exposition in 2019. A close to 100 million United States dollars hotel investment was born from the expo. The Southern Province Minister Dr. Hamukale notes that the government is on an ambitious path to give Livingstone a befitting status of a tourist capital.
This hotel here is an offshoot of the 2019 Southern Province Investment and Tourism Expo, to which we have benefited $93 million worth of hotel and accompanying facilities. This investment has come at the right time because we are on an ambitious path to give Livingstone that befitting status of the national tourism capital. And it is right in the middle of nature. When you come here, you find elephants, baboons, impalas.
The tourist capital is yet to have a modern market and bus terminus completed soon.
The ultra-modern bus stop that the government is constructing, or has constructed actually in Livingstone, is a very convenient facility which makes it very conducive for the travelers and for those that are transporting the travelers. In that building, you have modern toilets, you have internet, you have banks, you have modern restaurants, and we will be building a hotel that is going to be within that enclosure so that medium income people can also stay overnight if they require to proceed to a much further destination.
Worth to note is that all districts in the Southern Province have either a market or bus station being constructed under a partnership between the Zambian and German government.
The government, through cooperating partners GIZ and KFW, built up 13 bus stations and markets around the province. This will make movements of both goods and persons much easier and more convenient. And the citizens are very, very happy with this infrastructure. All municipalities, all the councils will have an opportunity to realize additional revenue through these bus stops and markets, and thereby making them more independent, and which in turn will help government achieve the decentralization agenda.
Zimba is one such district that is already seeing the fruits of the partnership. Gabriel Banda is Zimba main market chairperson.
We have development in our market. We have 2 shelters which are newly built and were officially opened by the Minister, Honorable Edify Hamukale. So we are very grateful as a market chairperson. We are very, very grateful to be considered as part of the Zambians who are benefiting.
In trying to improve water supply for both humans and livestock, the government sank 1,300 boreholes in different communities. About a quarter of these boreholes propelled by solar energy, and another 5% are propelled by electricity, And then the remainder are hand pumps, which are making the difference between having no water and having water. The government rehabilitated 14 dams which had silted, and also is constructing 5 more in the province. The government installed 266 solar hammer mills in areas that do not have access to electricity. These solar hammer mills will help in the provision of cereals in the form of milli meal and other sources of carbohydrates like cassava, which when milled will be available for the communities in those areas to purchase, as opposed to traveling long distances and spending so much money just to access milli meal.
Namwala prides itself in beef production, and on average, various companies and individuals slaughter about 500 cattle per day. The provincial minister, however, believes that Namwala has greater potential than just supplying beef.
This company is creating a ready market for our beef farmers to sell their animals, and also is creating employment. But looking into the future, would be very happy if we can acquire investment in other value chains, other byproducts from beef animals, and this includes processing of hides and skins into leather products like shoes, bags, hats, belts, and seat covers and several other products, and also production of glue from horns and also hoofs. So these are still idle value chains, which we think we can exhaust in the future.
The major districts that produce fish and kapenta in the province include Sinazongwe, Gwembe, and Siavonga. It is in this light that the government, through the Ministry of Livestock and Fisheries, has been empowering the local communities to venture into aquaculture.
Sinazongwe district in southern province is a major contributor to the livestock and fisheries production of the country as a whole. The district produces crocodiles from which we make leather and produce crocodile fat and crocodile meat. There's a lot of fishing activities going on here in the form of kapenta fishing and other forms of fish species. Sinazongwe also is one of the leading districts in goat production. And so we know that we have underutilized the Kariba waters in the past, and that's why government is now providing support towards cage fishing. And this is being done through provision of fish cages, which means fish can be produced within a water body, but by providing nutrition externally. And with this, we believe that as government we can treble the production of fish from Sinazongwe and reduce the fish supply deficit in the country.
Further, the government has created an enabling environment for the private sector to invest in aquaculture. Yalelo Zambia production manager Peter Lamb says the company has so far invested more than 20 million United States dollars in the company. During the 2020 Southern Province Exposition, the coal mining company pledged to inject 11 million United States dollars into the business.
In 2019, when we had our investment and tourism exposition in Livingstone in Southern Province, Mamba Couriers Limited did pledge that they were going to invest 11 million of their dollars in the expansion of the mine activities to enhance their capacity. And I'm happy to report that the mine has honored that pledge and has since committed 7 million of those $11 million into that expansion project. You may wish also to know that Mamba Couriers contributes 10% to the national installed electric energy supply, and with this investment we expect more contribution. Now this means more jobs for local people, it means more tax revenue.
The Southern Province is also home to Mazabuka district, also referred to as the sweetest town due to its sugar production. The Zambia Sugar Company under the Illovo Sugar Africa is the major supplier of sugar and other products such as syrups and molasses in the country. It is also a net exporter of the same products in the country.
So we're very proud of the innovations that are going on at the Zambia Sugar Company from the production point of view. Qualified personnel and very friendly workplace, on average better than in most companies in Zambia. So we are very proud of, especially that it's the largest producer of sugar in Zambia and accounts for 78% of Zambia's sugar exports. So that's a huge figure. So if it first meets domestic demand and can still export 78%. So we need more estates of this nature to really, for example, pay the entire civil service in Zambia. You just need 5 Zambia sugars, that's all.
Nico Mine is another company that is making a mark in Mazabuka district. The company is already strategizing to become a hub of nickel production in Africa.
They are looking at, in the future, to see how they can exhaust all the value chains right here. And so as government, we are committed to seeing that this comes to fruition. Nickel is a very unique mineral, and that is the mineral used in electric cars and in batteries. And with the depletion of fossil oils, the incoming technology is electric cars. And if we are already positioned in supplying the mineral that's so instrumental in sustaining that technology, then we are well placed as a country to become the hub of the nickel supply to neighboring countries. Government built 7 new boarding schools and rehabilitated some of the old schools to improve access to education by our young people. And we are aware that Southern Provinces has the highest number of boarding schools in Zambia, and this will increase the number even further, making it a very good choice province for learners that want to receive a boarding education or boarding-based education. In the health sector, government built 4 new hospitals in districts, namely Namwala, Gwembe at Munyumbwe, Kazungula, and also Kalomo. So these hospitals and 66 health posts that were constructed around the province will improve access to health care.
Another district whose face has changed as a result of the massive development taking place in the southern province is Moze district. Here, the government has built 70 houses for Zambia Correctional Service officers.
I bring you greetings from your sister Republic of Zambia. I do not feel the difference anyway. This is just the same, I'm at home. South Africa is our second home, and for South African, Zambia is your second home. Yes. With a long-standing relationship that dates back hundreds of years. Even in your liberation struggle, it's common knowledge that we kept a lot of ANC leadership members that ensure that you got liberated. Through Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, we had a role in ensuring that all of us here in SADC become totally independent, politically at that time. So our founding fathers concentrated on political cooperation, especially in the form of the liberation struggle. Our job as today's politicians, as today's leaders, is to ensure that we extend that into the economic sphere. I would rather eat cornflakes from Mafike than eat cornflakes from New York, because that is mine. So all we are saying is we have these raw materials, we don't have the technology in agro-processing that is fully developed. We have fully developed production systems, but not processing systems in the value chain, and that's why we come in to add. we are home to the mighty Victoria Falls. How many of you have heard Victoria Falls? Victoria Falls. So I greet you all in the name of Victoria Falls. And I would love next time that you can come to Zambia as well, interact with us, and we can show you more in detail what we have to offer and where we can find the synergies of working together. I thank you. Amanta!
When I look back, I'm satisfied. I have saved my country. And I'm not in the slightest guilt of denied my country service.
You know, I always admired what a hard worker, what a fantastic person Edify is. He's here, he's there, he's everywhere. Now he works so hard. There is, if every minister and every politician was working as hard as he is, he never takes any backhanders or anything like this. He's a wonderful man. Maybe I shouldn't say it, but I wish more people were like him in Zambia.
We are very proud of the success story of Mr. Hamukale. This is not a mean achievement at all. He has succeeded. He is a success story as far as we are concerned.
I have saved my country and its people without fear or favor, with or without recognition, with or without honor, with or without gain, because this is the only way I could best spend the best portion of my youthful energies and prime of my intellect. I have fought a good fight, and I have gladly done so with total commitment and honesty.